Is there anybody out there? Did the bell go off? That would be my question. I'll start shuffling the cards till you get online. Day 63. Wow, I can't believe it's been over 2 months since we sort of started working from home and things changed. Um, it's been a bit of a journey, hasn't it? I just had one of my friend just came. Hey, Jane, first up. Hey, Lauren, how you going? I just had a visit from my best friend, so we haven't seen each other. Really, we talked, but we haven't seen each other since we went into lockdown. And she just came and had coffee with me. Was so beautiful, and I'm so excited to have seen her. I think I almost cried a couple of times too. Hey, Gigi, how you going? Because it's just so beautiful when you haven't seen someone for a long time. I mean, I've been lucky; I've seen a few family members. But hey, Lenore, how you going? Bonjour. I'm really good, thanks, Joanne. I hope you are too. So we had coffee, we chatted for a couple of hours, we just caught up on a fair few things, and I'm thrilled that I got a chance to see her, which was really beautiful. Um, I also sort of, I could probably go and see her too. But both of us have been a bit concerned. She has the most beautiful. Oh, did you? Oh, out of detention, first up. Good for you, Gillian. Well done. You made it on time today. Hey, Pamela, how you going? I was going to say my friend's mum, who's an absolute beautiful soul, is like nearly 87. And I guess we've all been a little bit more conscious of the fact that older people don't seem to do well with this virus. So, oh, okay. So we've got cards coming out here. So we'll use the ones that are coming out. I usually hold them up so you can see me draw them, but we've got the camel and the nightingale here. So we'll have a look. Oh, very nice. Hello, Deborah. How you going? Lenore, that sounds great. It's a bit of a witch's circle, a bit of a coven. Nice. I like it. I miss that. I have my Ouija board there, but nobody to play with. It's not so much fun on my own. So we have the camel. First, let's do the camel first. I'm presuming the camel is, oh, maybe not. The camel is, oh my goodness, I need to work out how to get to this book a little easier. All right, the camel. Hey, Susan, how you going? Wow, lovely. The camel. This is about being resourceful, independent, and knows oneself. The camel can handle absolutely anything as it carries a wealth of nourishment within. This wonderful creature is self reliant and handles challenge with ease, even in the face of excess heat, judgment, or anger. The camel searches inside for the cool elixir of water to calm the situation. The camel represents the ultimate form of bringing opposites into balance, fire and water, and being responsible for one's own reaction. The camel is a wonderful traveler and is especially fond of trips to faraway lands. So when in balance, he's calm, content, and has a sparkle in his eye. I like that. Okay, and the other one was the nightingale, which I think maybe this way. Beautiful. Oh, there he is. Okay, so the nightingale. This is about having a fearless voice, speech, communication, or song. The song of the nightingale is otherworldly. This simple brown bird, almost unnoticeable among the flashy plumage of other birds, transports its listener to the realm of poetry. Nightingale energy is with us when we write, compose, and especially when we sing. It reminds us that music heals the deepest wounds. This card indicates a need to open the bridge between the heart and the voice. Is there something you need to say? How long has it been since you sang? Turn it up, write it down, and let it out. Oh, it's a wonder Sarah isn't on board. She's writing her book at the moment. So this is about singing and speaking freely with kindness. And the camel was very much about sort of sitting in your own energy and making the best of what you've got. So maybe some of you now are in a really good position and stable enough to maybe start speaking out about what you want in your life. And maybe you're ready to connect with that inner energy, that inner creativity that will help you express yourself better. So a lot of people on a journey, aren't they? You're feeling very camel-like lately. I want to say I'm feeling more nightingale-y, but I don't know that that is really the case. That's really nice, though. It's sort of saying you should be in a position now, yeah, to write things down. It obviously is, that you're starting to feel comfortable with who you are, and you can start speaking out, which is really, really nice. You got through two very famous people. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, look at this. On top of that, we get the card of building blocks. That's really cool. Hang on, let's just read this one to you. 28. This is about strong foundations and a beautiful work in progress. So the camel was about strong foundations. The nightingale was being able to sort of work towards your creativity, sing, write, whatever. And then you have building blocks, which talks about both building a strong foundation and putting something on it. So the oracle's message says you have everything you need to cultivate an extraordinary life, or an extraordinary life, however you want to pronounce it. This is a time when your focus needs to be on the foundations you build upon. Your work, your relationships, and your very being are underwritten by your values, ethics, morals, and core beliefs. Are they still true for you? Wow, we're doing a lot about core beliefs at the moment too, aren't we? Will they stand the test of time and serve as the solid grounding upon which you construct your life? Now you are making changes that will affect everything in a positive way. Your destiny is truly a remarkable and beautiful design. So you're definitely you're putting a new life together here. You're putting a new life together. You're building better foundations by understanding your core beliefs and letting go of things that no longer serve you. And you're doing it in a way that you're allowing creativity to come into your life. You're allowing yourself to bring in what you need to rebuild. So it's sort of like you're doing it in a very beautiful way here. So you're getting rid of what no longer serves you. Sorry, I have to wipe my nose. You're getting rid of what no longer serves you and rebuilding a strong foundation. Oh, they always do, Lauren. It blows me away. Sometimes when I pull the oracle cards out, because I pull them out last, so I don't know what they're going to be. And sometimes I'm absolutely just amazed and floored by the fact that they tie a reading together so well. And I remember somebody writing to me one time and saying it's almost like if you were to give me like a synopsis of what the reading was about, it's just all put into that oracle card. And I still blow out about that. It's really very, very interesting how everything fits together. And, and we all get a little bit sort of jaded sometimes about the whole spiritual journey. Like sometimes you're like, oh, is this true? Can this be? Is it right? And then you have these things that just present themselves in ways that you cannot deny the path you're on. And that blows me away completely. So, you're pick out a card or a room for yourself and it will fit exactly where you need to know something at the time, or something will happen in your universe to show you that you are being listened to, that you do have people around you. Hey Jules, how you going? Confirming, yeah. And it's a blast. And we still at times go, I wonder how, if that's true or if that's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, bang, there it is. And my daughter I watched my daughter manifest a couple of weeks ago. She'd said to me in the car, we were coming back from somewhere, and she said to me, I haven't seen so-and-so for such a long time. And she was really good friends with this person. And she said, I haven't heard from him. He went into another relationship and they sort of lost friendships for a couple of years. And she said to me, he's all I keep thinking about lately. I wonder if it means that I'm going to, he's going to come back in. And she sort of had a bit of a chuckle about it. And then a couple of days ago, she rang me. She said, guess who called me? And I was like, okay, well, my one guess would be that person. And she said, yep. She said, and he said to me, why did we stop talking? And my daughter said, well, hey, Sarah, I was just talking about you. Um, and my daughter said to him, well, that was sort of your choice. You sort of met someone and you moved away. And I didn't want to sort of, put any pressure on you to stay friends with me. They've been friends for a really long time. And he was all, that's really sad. I didn't realize that's what had happened. And I'm really sorry that we lost our great friendship. He's in another relationship, but he just wanted to touch base really just to see how she was going. But that is pure manifestation. So I said to her, if only you could do that with the lottery. So keep working on it. Keep working on it because you might be able to bring yourself in a lot of money. But it does happen that, you do sort of have these, what we used to see was coincidences. Like you think about someone and before you knew it, they would be calling you up or getting in touch with you. And we used to think, wow, that's such a coincidence. But you see, it isn't. It's because you've been thinking about them. And when you start to think about them, you put that seed in their head then. So it's sort of like I guess, then want to get in touch with you for whatever reason. But it was beautiful to see her do that. It was really lovely. Your ears are burning because it said something about, we had the card out, you'll have to go back and watch it now, and it said something about getting into that creative endeavor. I there it is a bit hard to explain how things happen. Because sometimes we want someone to come into our life and we can put all the energy we want into it and we may not manifest what we want. So there seems to be always this sort of divine overarching thing, that is it right for us and is it right to hear at that time or is it right for it to happen? But there always is this sort of feeling, that you have that something's about to happen and then it does. We've all done it. We've all got that psychic ability. Well done, Melissa. Yeah, that could be a bit of a hiccup, couldn't it? I had, I remember when my dog died, this couple of years ago now, and I had him for 14 years. So we'd had a very long friendship. And I was driving back from somewhere. And on that morning that I'd come back, he was staying with my daughter. And I remember thinking, I just had this, I had this feeling like impending doom. You know how you have the anxious feeling like it sort of sits in your gut a little bit and you feel like something's happening, but you can't actually put to it what's going on. And she'd rang me to say that he was a little off color and she was a bit, and then he died the next morning before I had a chance to take him to the vet. I don't think there was too much wrong with him. He'd been very, very sort of poorly, I don't know if you call it poorly, he had a heart murmur. So he'd been on medication for like 5 years and they really didn't expect him to last that long anyway. So we had beautiful time with him. But I felt that coming in. I just wasn't sure what to put it to. I couldn't quite work out what spirit was telling me, which I'm glad I really didn't know, because if I'd have tuned into it too much and worked it out, I could have done things differently, but maybe it wasn't the right thing to do. No worries, Jules. Have a great day. So I guess when it comes to why does energy come in when it does, it's possible that he was thinking of her and feeling bad about leaving things unspoken or unsaid. And then she started to pick up on his energy too. But she was saying, as I said, for a couple of days before that she felt she was going to hear from him because of that. So yeah, maybe it was his energy about thinking whether to give her a call and catch up with her. But that happens. Those sort of things happen often. And I think we get a bit sort of nonchalant about the energies. We may not really tune in to what's happening, but yeah, it's all very interesting. Oh, that sounds yummy, Lenore. Oh wow, don't do that. When you pull out a black dress, so you're not going out for dinner then. That's not that sort of little black dress. So it's very interesting to understand why things happen the way they do. Yeah, it would be nice to win the lottery. I'd love to see my daughter win the lottery. She has a big family and a lot of responsibilities, so I think it would make it nice and easy for her. Yeah, the camel and the nightingale. No, that's right, Lauren. We don't really know if it's their energy or our energy. Sometimes you think of someone out of the blue and you think, where did that come from? Like, really? Why am I thinking you're quick? Yeah, you think, where is that energy coming from? Like, why am I thinking that? And then when it happens, you're like, that's really strange. So, was then the question, because I remember trying to work this out years ago, being I have this brain that I do that never stops. And I remember thinking, do we actually know that's going to happen beforehand because it's part of our pathway? Do we tune into that because we have the psychic ability? Or is it already destined to happen and we're actually picking up on something that was going to happen anyway? So it's, yeah, very, very complex. Not really sure, can't explain that one. But then who can explain what goes on in the spiritual world? Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to sort of, no worries, Sarah, love you too, see ya. But I wasn't going to stay on for long anyway. So I have had a friend over. So I yeah, that's right. It is really funny, isn't it, how that happens? The other thing that happens is like the baseball thing yesterday, where, I'd heard one person talking about baseball, and then I turned on a reading and they were talking about a baseball. And then later on, I turned something else on the television and they were talking about a baseball. And then you're not sure whether you're just sort of picking up on something because of your mindset or whether somebody's trying to give you a message. So I always go with the fact that it's quite possibly a message and that I need to have a look into what does that mean for me. But it's quite interesting because baseball's not something I can relate to really here. Only thing I have probably in my life with baseball, I remember when I was a kid, because I babysat all the time for pocket money. I was always a bit of a workaholic, and I babysat on weekends. And I had a family, and I looked after their 3 daughters, and their father played baseball. That was in England. But that's probably the only thing I can really think of that. Oh, wow, Gillian's gone now. Yeah, I think sometimes you're right, Melissa. I do think sometimes we want something and we keep trying to put it out to the universe, but it doesn't come to us. And I feel that very strongly that sometimes we want things that possibly the universe doesn't think are in our best interest. So that desire sort of goes unanswered, or otherwise, if we could manifest everything we wanted, we'd all be, probably very wealthy, and we'd all have everything we want, and a lot of us wouldn't have to work because that's what we'd be wanting. But yeah, I just feel that sometimes your destined path goes a certain way, and you can put in as much energy as you want sometimes and not manifest something. And I believe the same thing. Maybe it wasn't the best thing for you. Maybe you thought it was, but maybe it's just not in your highest good at that time. So it doesn't mean you can't do it again or have a go at it some other time. Maybe it just wasn't right for that moment. And that's okay. Like, I think when you get to the stage where you're very comfortable about what is meant for you and what's not meant for you, well, then you don't have as many expectations in your life either. I was thinking about it the other day because, like a lot of people, I love to travel, and funny enough, some of the places that are really bogged down with this virus at the moment as some of the places I couldn't wait to get to, and they were definitely on my bucket list. And I keep thinking, I probably won't get a chance to go there for a while now. And they were things I was intending doing in the next, 2 years. Italy was the top of my list. I couldn't wait to go to Italy. But I won't be able to go there for a while, but that's out of my control. So maybe I wasn't meant to go there. It was just a desire I had. And maybe I'll get there one day, but maybe it's different. Maybe it will be very different when I go. Telstra is having major yeah, winds of 135. Now, can I say to you, I woke up this morning and I was like, what is that noise? It was howling here. And we're in May. I don't think I've ever seen winds like this in May. And I really strongly feel it's got something to do with our atmosphere. There's not as many cars on the road. There's probably not as many industries running. And I'm wondering if it's interrupting our pattern. These are the sort of winds you see in round about August. So it's possible. No, I live in New South Wales, Sydney, just outside Sydney, probably about an hour and a half from the centre of Sydney. For pizza. Oh my God, I love pizza. I'm a pizza person too. So New Zealand is good. So you are doing very well over there in New Zealand. I think you've had nil infections for a while too over there, which is fantastic. Western Australia's getting a storm in. Hey Margie, how you going? Nice to see you on board. Yeah, it looks like I don't know, I think it's too windy to be stormy here. The trees outside are absolutely like bending over backwards, as it were. So it's very, very windy here. But it doesn't feel rainy. So I think if it was going to get rainy, it's probably too windy for it to maybe a little overcast. Um, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but the weather pattern's definitely different. The other thing too is last week it was really, hey Jeanette, how you going? Last week it was really, really cold, icy cold. I had the heater going day after day, and this week it's been really mild again. So I don't know. It's all over the place. And the only thing I can put it down to is the change, everybody working from home and the changes to the wow. I have huge trees outside and they are really bending over out there. Jess, how you going? Um, it's eerie where you are today and such restless energies all night. And that's why I said I woke up and I was like, what is that noise? It was howling. And I couldn't quite work out what the noise was. It was such a strange noise. Jane's in Florida. That sounds like something out of a Harry Potter novel, doesn't it? Jane's in Florida, and she said it was sunny and really hot there. So maybe we need to get Jane to send over some of that here. It isn't really very cold. It's probably quite mild, but it's definitely the windiest I've seen it in a very long while. Can see the reflections in the whiteboard. You can too. Oh, wow. I never thought about that. Look at that. So you can see how they're blowing around out there. Now, the only thing that worries me is I have a lot of huntsmen in the house, and I figure if the trees are blowing around like that, I'm going to be overrun with huntsmen again because they're going to get all blown out of the trees. So that will be really interesting. You're in a little cove that is generally quite windy. Maybe it's the wind I'm missing here. It's strange. Oh, well, you sent it over to us, obviously. You didn't want it where you were. Yeah, I've watched New Zealand, Gillian. It's beautiful that no new cases. So I figure if you're not going to have any new cases, you'd have to be without new cases for at least the 14 days. But it will be, yeah. I don't know how they're going to. Yeah, it is, Lauren. It's really windy. Huntsmen, spiders, Jeanette. I get a lot of huntsmen. They're usually about that big. Sometimes they can be bigger, but they're quite big spiders. They're generally quite shy. They can bite, they can hurt, but they're not poisonous or anything. But they, when it's often before it gets really, really wet, they seem to know when it's going to flood. And I keep thinking if the trees are blowing around like this, they might blow in the house. There was a couple in, I've had 5, I think, since I've been here in the last few months that have been substantially big. And they tend to find their way inside. But most of the time, I always say to them, if you stay in the laundry or far enough away, yeah, there you go. Lauren said they don't like the weather, so they come inside and are massive. Sometimes they can be quite. The biggest one I've had would have been the size of a hand, probably. But they're not. Even though they bite, they can sort of make you a little bit sort of sick on the tummy, but they're not deadly or anything. We've had the spider card a few times lately. If they're in my laundry or in a place where I don't have to worry, bathroom, whatever, I'm fine. I don't like them in the bedroom with me. So I like my bed to myself. I want no bodies in the bedroom. You would faint. I'm not worried about them so much as long as I don't have them near me when I'm sleeping. Melissa, that's too funny. And my daughter was the same because she doesn't like them at all. And she was like, "Have you killed them yet?" And I'm like, "No, they're fine. They'll go away on their own. I don't have to worry." And she's like, "No, need to kill them. They can't stay in the house." So, but yeah, I'm okay with them now. I'm more worried about redbacks because I know redbacks can make you quite unwell. But yeah, redbacks would worry me more. I wouldn't like a funnel web. Funnel webs, I don't think they've killed anybody since 1970 something, but they are deadly. They have a good anti-venom for those now, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I've had a couple of bad experiences with huntsmen. I had one in the mailbox one time. This was years ago, and every time I went out to the mailbox, it would rear up. So they actually do the whole rearing thing, and so I kept shutting the mailbox down, and then I couldn't get my mail. So I ended up having to sort of drown him in fly spray to get my mail. Oh, that's too cool. Lauren, I can remember years ago, my brother lived in Emu Plains, and outside the front of their house, there were two cypress trees, the tall, thin trees, and a lot of people use them for windbreaks. And they were very, very pretty, and they were right outside the front of his house. And we'd gone out one night for a few drinks. And when we came home, I walked between the two trees and I didn't realize that where he was, they had a lot of those big orb spiders. So if you've never seen an orb spider, the body on it is probably about that round. They're beautiful. They're multicolored, beautiful spiders. And at night time, they come in and they build their web between the trees. And then in the morning, when it starts to get light, it's almost like they pack everything up and put it away. But coming home at 3 o'clock in the morning after a few drinks, I walked straight into the web. And I always talk about the spider dance. When you think the spider's on you, and no matter how hard you move around, you cannot get the feeling that you have a spider on you somewhere. So, oh no, I wouldn't like that. So I think they're beautiful orb spiders. I think they're just the most prettiest things, but I still don't like the idea of one being on me. They don't pay rent. Shame they didn't. I'd have made a bit of money out of them. Daddy Longlegs is, yeah, I don't particularly like them either. If I can get rid of them, I usually suck them up the vacuum cleaner. I'm not going to heaven, am I? So you've got rain where you are, Susan. Oh wow, Jess, that sounds awful. That sounds terrible. Oh dear. Yeah, that's what my daughter says. She says if they're going to come inside, they're out of their own habitat, so she has a right to kill them then. So you've done the dance that many times. Oh, I had a big huntsman in the car one time, and I thought I had a hair on my leg. This is creepy. Driving along, mind you, I don't know how fast I was going, maybe 60 k's. I was in the city, and I felt something on the back of my leg, and I thought it was a hair. So I sort of grabbed hold of what I thought was a hair on my leg, and it was a spider. And I sort of brought it up like that, realized it was a spider, and threw it, and then it ran along my dashboard and disappeared. And I remember thinking, I can't just stop because I'm in traffic. I've got cars all around me. So I kept driving until I could pull over. And then, of course, I got out and done the spider dance in the middle of the street. So I don't know what anybody thought. And then I realized I had to get back in the car. So I should have just kept driving because then I didn't know where the spider had gone. But I have heard of people like putting the sun visor down. This is really bright here. Putting the sun visor down, and the spiders dropped off the sun visor into their lap. So, yeah, it's. I wasn't horrified at the time. I was like, oh my goodness, that was a spider. Threw it at the window. It went scuttling along the dashboard, and I was fine. But because of my panic, I sort of thought I need to pull over and just sort of debrief myself, sort of thing. I pulled the car over, and then I thought, you stupid idiot. Now you're sitting by the side of the road with a spider in the car, and you're going to get back in the car and drive it. Anyway, when I got home, I used like a can of fly spray on the car, surface spray, because I didn't know where he'd gone. So I don't know whether he was still there or whether he disappeared. He was probably terrified. He got thrown out the window, grabbed by a human being that's like 100 sizes bigger than him and then got thrown at the windscreen, probably thought his life had come to an end. He would have been terrified. Poor spider. Oh dear. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to go, guys. I'm not staying on. As I said, I've had visitors this morning, so I have things I need to do. But anyway, it was lovely to join you all and have talk about spiders. We talk about so much stuff on here, like I'm blown away. So have a great day. Enjoy your time with your family. Things are starting to get back to some sort of normality this week. We moved to the next stage of getting out and about. They tell me the beauticians will be open within the next month, which means I can get my nails done again. So I'm very happy. Lovely to see you on board today because there's a few new faces here. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up so you let everybody know how much fun we've had. And I will see you tomorrow. Mwah. Love you all. Bye.